So I put myself in the middle of a whole bunch of educators. And so I have educators at different levels. So I have one of my board members is an educator for elementary school. Then I have one educator on my board that works with special needs children. And then I also have a board member that works for towards employment. And so I created a board around me of people that are in positions that work directly with the demographic that we're going to service, and so they also see the voids. And so that, in addition to looking at my son was the inspiration for pretty much the whole program. Everything that I taught him, everything that I felt he should have been taught, I made sure to make that a part of what we will teach these other young men because they're just kind of being lost. They're getting lost. They're being forgotten. And so everything that I felt my son should have been taught or that I taught him, we made sure to add it into the curriculum. And then I used that circle of educators that are on my board to help it make sense. Okay. So yes, as a mom, I know how I want it to look. But we also need it to make sense when we're going in and we're pitching to the schools. Right. So initially we were just in the library. So now we're actually running the program inside the school districts.
About how many?
So right now we actually at the end of this week it'll be 5 school districts.
And so then when you're talking about doing this, what does that look like to go in there and teach this to young men? You know, at what period, how is time allotted and allocated for you? And then what are metrics that you use and that others may use to evaluate the success of your program? Because an interesting thing that I think that there's a little chatter in the news about now is LeBron James's school, the Promise Academy in Akron, Ohio. And they are talking about the how the students are performing at the state level. So what metrics did you put in place for yourself, especially having the benefit and access to board members with an education background?
So what we do is we do a pre-test. So before the pre-test though, we actually have our meeting with the administrator. And so that meeting with the administrator is important because it'll tell us which direction to go. So are we going in and we can kind of skate over some of the social and emotional stuff? Are they in a place where they're mature enough where we don't necessarily have to put 80% of our resources into social and emotional and we can go right into life skills? Or do we need to baby step this thing? Right. Do we need to go from A to Z? And I'm talking about just plain pure interaction, helping them understand how to interact with their brothers, how to understand what a brotherhood is, how to interact with their moms, how to know when it's okay to say sorry. Because a lot of times our children don't understand empathy. They don't know that, especially our brown boys, because we tell them don't show emotion, don't cry. Right. And so they got to be tough. They can't be soft. And so when we meet with the administrators, that's the first conversation that we're having. Where are your boys? Wow. Where are they? Like, what should be our focal point? Because it doesn't make sense to come in and we go straight into our life skills, but when they leave out of the room, they don't even know how to engage with each other. So we have to sometimes start from the beginning. And so what we do is when we first get with them, we do a pre-evaluation. And so we see where they are. So our first couple sessions is no class work. Right. It's more team building exercises, icebreakers, just to see where they are, how they engage, how far back we feel we need to go. And then at the end, they all have to exhibit all skills learned. So we teach dining etiquette, we take them out to eat. You have to use those skills. If we teaching you your basic cooking skills, then you got to actually perform. You got to do that. We just added basic first aid and CPR and AED because of everything that's going on with all of the heart problems and the things with the kids. So at the end of that, of course, you have to exhibit that you've learned the skill to get your certification. So all along the way, they're doing tests to evaluate and show that they're learning these skills.